JonnyPink. Man, there's nothing quite as exciting as new camera day. So I am today playing with Canon's R8, and it is another rental. I've got rental links down below if you want to try something out. It allows me to try cameras that I'm not going to buy unless I just absolutely fall in love with them, like the R3 when I rented that, and the R50 when I rented that. And it just, one amazing thing about Canon is when they put out their new cameras, even their entry-level cameras, their autofocus, they don't pull anything back, they don't hold it back. The autofocus on my R50 is almost better than on my R3, believe it or not. They just keep throwing all this new stuff at it. Canon's amazing. So that's all I can say. I'm going to continue to walk down that way towards, this is Sepulveda. I'm going to walk down there and see what I can shoot. Hopefully a dragonfly or two. This is my first time out with it, so if I don't get anything but a dragonfly or a butterfly, I'm okay. I'm gonna go that way. And I'm standing here at the water's edge, and I really do like shooting the turtles as they poke their noses up out of the water. I love that. Each of the photos that I'm showing here, if you look down, I'm using Canon's 200 to 800. This is exposing, this little body I think it's exposing some of the weaknesses with this lens. So I will be trying it with the 100 to 500 as well. I'll be shooting hummingbirds and hopefully butterflies on Sunday. And I'm watching all kinds of things out there. But each of the photos that I'm showing you are full frame. I'm not cropping them in. I'm going to zoom in. You've seen them zoom in, but these are full frame as they're coming out of the camera. I don't know what to expect. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of these images. The tracking on this, I am so impressed. Again, man, Canon, just so amazing with what they do. I'm watching a bee out there, but I just saw some dragonflies, which is also what I came out for. There was one perched over there, and I'm hoping to see more in through here. This is one of the places that I like to wait. They fly through here, they hover for a second. There's one, just went one. They hover for a second, and if you pre-focused, as soon as they get there, man, you hit the eye auto tracking and it just locks right onto them, and you just snap away. Now, the one thing I'm noticing about this is the smaller camera body. It's kind of like the M50 was and like the R50 is. It's just a slightly smaller body, so if you want a lot more control and something that feels bigger in your hands, then the R7 as a crop sensor might be a better way to go, or the R5, which is still such an amazing camera. I do miss shooting in 8K, but you know, I'm saving hard drive space too. All right, gonna go this way for just a little bit longer. All right, I'm cheating here. It's the next day and I'm out. Actually today I have on this R8, I have the 100 to 500 with a 1.4 extender giving me 700 millimeters at an f10. And the reason I have it now is because it is so amazing. I don't have the zoom, but who cares? I don't use the zoom that much anyway. And this short minimum focus distance makes a big difference. You've heard Jared Polin say glass, 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 glass. It is all about the glass. And this one is so much sharper than that 200 to 800. It's worth not having that extra 100 millimeters of reach, and you can get closer to make up the difference. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around. And I noticed that after processing photos from this morning when I was shooting hummingbirds out at Hahn Park. So here's a couple from my cheat this afternoon. Check these out. One thing I forgot to mention in the other one is normally, and I forgot to do actually, normally I set my exposure compensation at a negative 0.3, and I had forgotten to do that. So some of the highlights were a little blown out, or they are a little blown out in what you're about to see, or have seen, or are seeing. But I've changed that, so check some more out. One more thing to mention, people always talk about why don't you shoot the 200 to 800 on the R7 or the R50. I personally don't like it on there. The other thing to think about is as you start getting out at that focal distance, especially on hot days like it is right now, it's 100 and something outside right here, right now. I like shooting in the bright afternoon. The atmosphere, the haze, the heat, it distorts your photos. So for me, and this is just me, I think 800 is a perfect sweet spot for me. I can deal with the 7 because I can get so much closer to it. So again, another sweet spot. And that's why I don't shoot. I have, just to play around. And it's a lot of fun, especially on colder days. But on hot days like this, the distortion in the atmosphere will ruin your photos. They just won't be as sharp. They can't be. Okay, now back to the video. I start to talk and then I see all the little things moving and my attention just goes way towards those things I'm watching. I get a lot of questions. How do I shoot? On this one, my settings about 99% of the time, since it's not a DSLR and I don't have to think about it, I leave my ISO in auto for this type of stuff. If it was something else, I would bring my ISO way down and I would control it all the time, or I'd leave it set as low as I can get it. For whatever lens I'm using, I keep it as wide open as that lens will go. In this case, it's an f9 at 800, but as I zoom out, that opening goes down to 7.1. I do that on all of my lenses. And I control my shutter speed. I try and keep it up really, really high. I don't worry about the ISO because we have this wonderful software in Lightroom Classic. That's what I use. I'm just watching the butterflies over there. That takes all that out. Plus, I use masks and filters all the time to clean everything up. I like a nice, clean look. That's what works for me. And one of the other questions that I get is, I've been shooting with a DSLR, a 7D, or one of the older cameras. Should I switch to a mirrorless? Well, only you can decide that. But I will tell you, for me, the advantage, here's one of the big brown butterflies that I want to get, is looking at your exposure, what it's going to look like right up front. I do let the camera control a lot of that because these things are so smart. That's the technology that we're paying for. I don't have an assessment on this R8 as of yet because I haven't looked at any of the photos other than now you guys have seen them and I have processed them, but I'm not recording video anymore. So let me know what you think down below, please. Give me some feedback. The lens that you use, I've talked about this in other videos and I know that other people have as well. The lens you use is super, super important. And I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of third-party lenses. I don't care if Tamron or Sigma ever starts making lenses for Canon. If they do, I'll rent one, but I won't buy one. It would have to be just mind-blowing to buy one. Just my opinion. It's up to you, and I know that Sigma, I think even Tamron, makes some fantastic lenses that fit the Sony and even the Nikon stuff, but I'm a fan of what Canon puts out. Am I a Canon fanboy? Yeah, because it just works, and it works for me. The 100-400 is a phenomenal lens. Too short, I think, for real wildlife, but it has a short minimum focus distance. The 100-500, I think, is so much better, and it's amazing on the R7. And this R8, I've been so excited to try this. I was listening to Jared Poland on setting it up and how it all works. It's actually, my initial is, it's pretty doggone impressive, man. So, JonnyPink, thank you so much. I've rambled on enough about it. I'm gonna go out and shoot some hummingbirds and butterflies and whatever else I can shoot over the next couple of days. This was just an initial hot in the evening to try and get dragonflies, and I did, and I got some in flight, and I got a swallow in flight. It looked like maybe one of those was in focus relatively, and if not, well, you saw it anyway. Again, thank you. Give it a thumbs up, please. It helps the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button if you have not. Share it with somebody if you think it's kind of cool. I do appreciate it. I answer my comments. So leave one down below and I'll get back to you. My email is there if you had any questions. And again, I rent stuff all the time. And the company that I use is Lens Rentals. If you use one of the links that I have down below, you get 25 bucks off, and I think I get a couple of points for it to put towards another rental to show you guys the stuff that I'm using. Again, thank you. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you. I am going to go that way towards the trash. One other thing I forgot to mention is that I set all my cameras this way. I have two buttons that I set on the back. One I use for single point, or whatever focus mode I'm using, whether it's a little bit expanded or something like that. The other one is, it turns on the eye tracking. That's the way I set up all my cameras. That's what works for me. Okay, let's go back to some photos.